Hello, my friends, and welcome to the stream. No joke up top, since I don't know. This isn't a regular stream. It's a weird one. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing. My my thought is though, my room is a mess. my game room down here is an absolute disaster, and I need to kind of straighten it up. And I want to do a new inventory of my game collection. I bought I have an Android tablet, and I had like a list keeping app on it, and for a long time I was keeping up with my game inventory, but I got lazy with it, and it sort of drifted and become very inaccurate. But then I got a new tablet, like late last year or something like that, and the app I was using on the old one isn't compatible with the new tablet, and I don't know, it's just a whole mess. So I'm just gonna start from scratch and do it all over again. And, it'll be kind of fun, because then I get to, look at all these things, and, what's the point of hoarding all these old games if I'm not going to take them out and enjoy them every now and then? And I would love to show you how much of a disaster this room is, but I really don't want to pan my camera around again, because I've got it set up kind of okay where it is. I've got a little table. I'm trying to set things out and take pictures of them, because my new collection app lets you have photos of the things that are in there. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and if you want to hang out with me while I do that, that'd be great. I'd appreciate the company. If you just want to lurk and watch me fumble around and whatnot, that's fine too. Or if you wanna chime in, ask me questions about my collection, or let me know your thoughts on whatever games I'm taking pictures of and typing the titles of. That's what we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna work on this for a couple hours, till about 8:30 or so, my time. Right now it's about 6:20, so about 2 hours. I've got to work on this, and then I'll cut the broadcast, and there'll be a regular stream from me later tonight. We're gonna do more Banjo Tooie for my regular stream later tonight. So let me just switch my camera over. And there we are. That's where I'm going to be working. And I've got Mario Party music on in the background. I've got it kind of quiet, because I'm going to be pretty far from the mic. So let me know if you have a lot of difficulty hearing me or anything like that. If my audio level is really weird, or if I'm breathing too heavy, or making weird noises in your ears, doing anything embarrassing like that, please let me know. And I'll do my best to address the situation as best I can, with everything kind of moved out of its regular places. And we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, I have to keep switching the music manually, because I wasn't clever enough to set up anything else. I'm just using the jukebox in the game, and I'll select the songs one by one. So if a song is going on for way too long and driving you crazy, feel free to speak up about that too. But I figure it's better to have some kind of noise in the background. But all right, we're gonna get to it. I think the first thing I'm gonna work on is Virtual Boy, because who doesn't love the Virtual Boy? And it's a small collection, and it'll give me an opportunity to kind of cut my teeth with what the process of putting things into this new app is, since I don't really know how to use it yet. I've inventoried exactly one game, and that's the copy of Mario Party that we're currently listening to. So I'm going to get moved again. I don't know. You might not be able to hear my voice very well after I get shifted around. Hopefully it works out okay, though. Hello, Master Tuesday. Good to see you. Welcome to my weird working on my room stream. So I've got the mic in a position that I hope is going to work. I don't know if you're going to hear like a lot of obnoxious noises as I'm moving things around on the table or not. So again, if the stream is exceptionally difficult to listen to, let me know. And just a heads up, my lighting for this is pretty poor. So sorry about that. There's not a whole lot I can do about it at the moment. Hello, 5-foot giant. Good to see you. Thank you for the feedback. And is that what I think it is? The arbiter of illness, the harbinger of headache, a Virtual Boy. That's exactly what it is. The Virtual Boy is my smallest collection, so I figured it would be best to inventory that first. You figure I would have been clever enough to find the things first, but no. So I'm gonna be fumbling around just a little bit trying to get everything to the table. Okay, miraculously, I think I finally found all of my Virtual Boy stuff. My camera's too close to the table. I can't really set the thing up so you can have a good look at it. It's so dusty. I probably haven't played this thing. I don't know. The last time I think I set up the Virtual Boy, probably like 2016, maybe 2017. It's been a while. So the app I'm using is creatively named Collection Manager, and I think that whoever designed it with inventorying their wine cellar in mind, because it's got a bunch of wine bottles as the app icon. But I think it works for my purpose because I can create a lot of different groups. So I can divide them up by console, basically. And you can attach extra, I don't know, metadata to each of your entries. So I can put like the number of copies, whether or not I have a manual, whether or not I have a box. So I think it's going to be pretty good for my purposes. Leave the actual console aside for a moment and start laying out some games, start taking some photos. First up, Wario Land. Beautiful. One game inventoried, 1,000 to go. Wario Land I bought. I've never played it that much. I hear that it's decent, but that like most of the stuff on Virtual Boy, it has no business being on Virtual Boy. Next up, Galactic Pinball. And amazingly, I actually have the manual for this one. You can tell which Virtual Boy games I got new when the console was new, because those are the ones I have manuals for. Oh, except Mario Tennis. I think Mario Tennis, I feel like it came with the Virtual Boy, but I don't have a manual for that one. I actually like Galactic Pinball quite a bit. I like video game pinball games. I mean, I like pinball machines in general. But I also like video games that are pinball. Looking at all the, so the way that they, well, I don't know. I don't know if you can see the screen here, kind of. So it puts the items in your collection with a photo, and it's gonna drive me absolutely crazy that all the photos are slightly different sizes and positionings. Next up, Red Alarm. Red Alarm is absolutely terrible. It's like Star Fox, if it took place indoors and everything was a wireframe. And I got the manual for that one too. All right. And we got 2 left. Next up is Mario Clash. Mario Clash is alright. It's kind of like really simple, sort of arcade style game. It's not great, but it's alright. And finally, Teleroboxer. This game I don't even think I've ever played. I hope it actually works. Oh no, horror of horrors. The I don't know if you can see it. The way Teleroboxer prints. The app isn't smart enough to resize the font for things that are for words that are too long. So all of the letters for Teleroboxer, they're one of the letters, the last letter, the R, gets orphaned onto line 2. It looks horrible. It looks like Teleroboxy R. I don't know what I want to do in regard to taking photos of the console itself and like controllers and adapters and cords. I mean, do I inventory these things? I guess I'll start by doing them, and if it drives me crazy later, I'll just abandon it. So the way the Virtual Boy stand works, it's got like a little lever here, and it does like I don't know, like a chompy sort of clip action to bite onto the bottom of the console. And this little front part here that flexes out is actually really fragile. And on mine, I actually broke it off at one point, and so it's been epoxied back on. The epoxy makes a good bond because it's never rebroken after I fixed it. I don't really know what the best angle to get a photo of the console is. And I guess I want the manual in the picture too, since I've got the important customer information and precautions booklet. This thing, it's got like 1,000 different languages on the back side. On the front side, it's only in English, and it's one sheet of paper long, and yet it's got 5 boxes that say warning. And not only that, but over here, both of these boxes are titled precautions. I think Nintendo was really worried this thing was going to melt your eyes right out of your face. Hello, Sparrow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to my weird, awkward, keep me company while I do a bunch of busy work stream. And good morning, good evening to you, Sparrow. You still own a Virtual Boy? I do. I've got a Virtual Boy, and I've got a whole 6 games for it. I've already photographed all the games, but to give you the quick rundown, there's Wario Land, Galactic Pinball, Red Alarm, Mario Tennis, Tellero Boxer, and Mario Clash. All right, one collection inventoried. My smallest one. So I think from there, next I'm going to work on Nintendo 64. See, it's cool that you have had the time, money, and space to be able to keep all of these systems. Yes. Um, Believe me, I recognize that I'm very lucky to have, in a lot of ways, with my collecting, um, that I've been able to hang on to these things. That I got into retro game collecting at a really good time, before it got prohibitively expensive. Um, because like if I had no collection, was just looking to get into it today, there's no way I would be able to afford even a quarter of what I have. People have just gone crazy with with the retro game prices on some of these things. But I've also worked really hard for it. I've talked on stream. I've talked on stream about how many times I've moved, and moving a collection like this around gets really old really fast. That's why. That's why I have done things like Well, let me just show you. This is gonna horrify people who collect disc-based games, but my disc games are mostly in sleeves like this. Now I have kept the manuals and the inserts, but I've thrown the plastic boxes away, and all of my games are in sleeves like this. So in theory, I could someday buy a whole bunch of empty cases and put them back together because I still have the slips that go inside of them. but eventually, somewhere along the way, you have to make compromises like that, unfortunately. And 5 Foot Giant, this is such a good idea to do a stream to help you get this done. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad some people are here for it because I know I know it's got to be incredibly boring, but that's kind of why I wanted to stream it so that I might have some company. All right, I mean, to be honest, it would be fun to just sit by myself and do this inventory, but I think it would be a lot more fun with company. I can imagine, oh wow, well, if you can plant roots down in that house, then yeah, that's something you should consider. Someday when I have a permanent home, then that's what I'm gonna do. You know, this might be it. Hopefully, we'll see. I like my Virtual Boy games. My Virtual Boy games are in no particular order because one, it's such a small collection, and two, I mean, I keep them in a Ziploc bag in a in a giant like Tupperware container. Um, as you may have saw, which I'm not really happy about how the Virtual Boy and its accessories fit in there. It's not a great shape. It's a little too narrow on the bottom, but whatever. My my Nintendo 64 games are also in no order, even though the collection is gigantic. They're just all in this big IKEA cubby box. So we're just going to be going through them in whatever random order they come out in. So it might take me a while to pair them up with their manuals, or in the rare case that I have boxes, the box for them. I really hope I don't have a Mario Party manual because I already took a picture of it and now I'm using the game, so. Speaking of which. Meanwhile, I had a discussion with a broker yesterday, and he seems to think I'm about a month away from being able to get the home loan process going, albeit for a small house. But you have to start somewhere. Hey, that sounds great, Sparrow. I'm actually supposed to go talk to a banker later this week myself and find out what's what. So I think the way to do this is to do the games that have manuals first, so that I'm not having to look through the manuals every time. I'll find the manual, and then I'll find the game that goes with it. I think that'll be the smarter way to do this. So most of my Nintendo 64 games, because they don't come with end labels, most of them I have labeled with a label maker so that I can actually find them when I'm looking for something. My primary copies should all have labels on them. I've got a collection of primary copies, and I've got a small collection of backup copies of some of my games. Nice. Early stages right now. Anything could happen given my financial situation. A bit of uncertainty, but we'll see. I'm in a pretty uncertain boat myself. Not terribly so, but enough that I don't really know what the rest of the year looks like. It could go one of a couple different ways. The first game I'm looking for, and I can't find it. Yeah. Oh, God. Well, the first manual I came across is GoldenEye, but I actually don't see my copy of it in the box. It's ought to be in there. I'm overlooking it, but we'll just skip that and we'll do another one first. We got Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. Not a not a great game, but for whatever reason, I got really into these Army Men games. Um, I got Sarge's Heroes 2 and Air Combat coming up. I'm fumbling around with the app trying to figure out. I made a mistake when I was putting in one of the metadata options, and I'm trying to figure out how to replace it. Sarge's Heroes 2 and a delicious green cartridge. I think what it mostly was is probably that one scene in Toy Story where the little green army men go on a mission to scout out Andy's birthday party. I think that captured my imagination when I was a kid, and I liked the idea of playing as a little green army man in an oversized world. And Army Men Air Combat, which I have, even though I'm typically not a the biggest fan of vehicle-based games. We got Jet Force Gemini. I actually have 2 copies of this one. This is one, I got really into Jet Force Gemini for a while, but it's got a thing in it. It's very hard to access the end game of Jet Force Gemini. There are these like these civilian characters hidden through the hidden throughout the levels. What in the world is that noise? My game just started sounding crazy. I don't know if it sounded like that on your end or not. What is going on? Let's see if that clears up if I change the track. Oh, the game is glitching out. I see. All right, let me go address that real quick. I'll be right back with you. Just a little static on this end. We're due for a music change anyway. All right. Like I said, I'm switching the songs manually, so it might take. Sometimes it takes a minute before I realize that something's been on a long time. Oh, but about Jet Force Gemini, I was like, so if you're not familiar with it, it's like a shooting like battleground type game, but there's civilian characters hidden throughout the battleground. They're these little teddy bear creatures, and they can be ignored, or they can be killed, or they can be rescued. But to access the end game, you have to find all of them and rescue all of them on all of the levels, and some of them are tucked away in places that are really hard to find, or they're really hard to get to before the enemies get to them. And so the need to 100% that challenge kind of broke my spirit, and I never finished the game. This song is extra repetitive. Okay, we got Majora's Mask. I got 2 copies of this one too. I got one with the fancy hologram label and one with the regular picture label. But I do actually have a second hologram. I thought it was a sticker, but it's not. It's like, I don't know what it... I guess maybe it was a sticker. It peeled off of something. I don't know where it came from. It didn't come off this game. I guess I could attach it, but I don't know. Why bother, I guess. I don't have many of these. I like these plastic cases for, like rental cases or whatever. This one's got like sticker scuzz all over it. I never bothered to clean it up. I really should do that. That looks pretty gross. But I like these sort of rental cases, but I don't really have a whole lot of them. Since I have so few actual game boxes, like, it'd be really nice to have enough of these to store my whole collection in. But I mean, talk about needlessly super expensive. I have a grand total of 2 of these cases. I got a blue one and a green one. For the Nintendo 64. I've got a handful of them for other consoles. Paper Mario. Not a whole lot to say. Paper Mario's simply great. I love it. I love Majora's Mask too. Majora's Mask might be my favorite 3D Zelda game. At least like so far as traditional 3D Zelda games, because like it's hard to be like consider what's your favorite 3D Zelda and have like Breath of the Wild and all the others mixed in, because it's such a different game. I never played Zelda growing up. I just started Breath of the Wild, and I'm having a hard time. It's beautiful, but I keep getting stuck. I don't think I got... I don't know. I'm trying to think how stuck I got in my playthrough, and I'm not really sure because I played Breath of the Wild extremely aimlessly, and so if I got stuck, I don't think I would even really notice, because I would just be like, oh well, I just go somewhere else. I didn't really set a whole lot of like long-term goals during my playthrough. I just kind of did whatever the next immediate thing that got my attention was, and stumbled my way through. Rayman 2, I remember almost nothing about this game in detail. I actually saw Klotzkopf was playing it on her channel about a week ago, I think now. And it looked vaguely familiar to me. I feel like I remember really liking this game, but I don't remember hardly anything about it, except something that has nothing to do with it, and that is I associate this game very heavily with Bob Marley music. I was listening to like a Bob Marley's greatest hits or something on repeat when I played it, and so now like this game and that album are infused in my memory. Hey, we got Ocarina of Time. I only have one copy of this game. I only have one copy of most of my games, but I actually had a second copy of this one for a while, but I traded it. I traded it for Goemon's Great Adventure. I don't have the box for this game, but I have a Japanese box for Ocarina of Time. Oh. It's kind of cool. It's shiny. I think it's Japanese at least. Come to think of it, I have the Japanese manual. Perfect Dark. I absolutely loved Perfect Dark. I I put I put an absolutely disgusting amount of hours into Perfect Dark multiplayer, and frequently not even with anybody else. I would just put it on and play against bots for hours and hours and hours. I had one friend. I had one friend who was into Perfect Dark, but he went to like a boarding school, um, and so I only saw him during the summers. I somehow messed something up when I set this collection up in this app, and every time I input a game, it asks me title, and then it asks me number of copies, number of manuals, number of boxes. But when it asks me about copies and manuals, it puts a number pad on the screen, and when it asks me about boxes, it puts the full keyboard on the screen. So, I just want to type, 110, 100, or whatever, but I keep messing up my third input because it's a different keypad on the screen. I've given myself such a small hurdle, but it's really adding up. What of these games might you stream someday? Perfect Dark? Yeah, I would be up for streaming Perfect Dark. The thing is, I I would like to stream all of them at some point. If I keep streaming long enough, I'm eventually going to get through them all. Right? I don't think that'll ever happen. But no, I don't really have a lot of solid plans for what I'm going to stream. All I do is I try to focus on variety, and that's about it. That's the one sort of thing is that I aim for. Is I try to keep switching up which console I'm on and which type of game I'm playing. I get these feelings from music also. I guess it's why we hold on to these things and value them to the extent we do. Yeah, a lot of them, a lot of the games have like really, really positive, strong memories for me, and so of course that's an obstacle to getting rid of any of basically anything in my collection. But I just have like, I don't know, whatever it is that people have in them that makes them want to collect in general, because I love the process of building a collection and like hunting for the next item and that kind of stuff. Like I've got collections of games, and I've got collections of books and trading cards and just all kinds of weird stuff. And I got an absolutely ridiculous collection of Super Mario movie memorabilia. Most of it's not accessible right now, but I think of that because here I have the novelization of the Super Mario Brothers movie. This is my most recent acquisition. I haven't made the time to sit down and read it yet. I mean, it's not terribly long. It's like a children's novel, but it's absolutely fantastic. I don't believe you should have to get rid of these things. It's part of your journey in life, really. Why shouldn't you be allowed to show how far you've come and what greatly influenced along the way? I mean, I'm not really tempted to get rid of anything in my collection either. I didn't mean for it to sound like that if it did, but I mean, I definitely have people who don't really understand, and they're like, from time to time, they're like, why don't you just sell all that stuff? Like, if so many of these games are worth so much money, why don't you just liquidate everything? And it's like, well, because I actually enjoy having it, and for as long as I'm able to live comfortably and not have to like liquidate my collection out of desperation or something, then I want to hang on to it. For the time being, they're worth more than money to me. And as long as I'm lucky enough to be in that situation, I figure I'll hang on to them. We got Star Fox 64, another game I absolutely love. So this is one I plan on streaming sooner rather than later. To somewhat answer your question there, I'm 5 foot giant. I do actively have a desire to stream Star Fox 64 in the near future, but unfortunately, I hate. You're not the only person to ask me that. Like, what kind of things am I going to stream? And I know my answer is like not very helpful because it sounds kind of wishy-washy, but it's just that's just the thing is I don't have real concrete plans, and I have so many games it's so many of them I've never played that I want to, that like the list of potential games is just outrageous. It's crushingly huge. Just like Rayman 2 has like a weird connection to Bob Marley in my brain. Star Fox 64 has the same connection to the Charlie Daniels Band. It's another one I would play this game a ton with a Charlie Daniels album on repeat, and so now I just associate those two things. It's the same with me and my records, which, by the way, isn't nearly as complete as your game collection. I hope once I have my own house that I'll be filling up a few of those IKEA cubby box holder shelves full of them. Right on. I hope you get to it. Like I said, I love collecting, so I celebrate when other people are able to find the thing that they like to collect, and and go through the process of building up a collection and enjoying it. It'll be easier for you to pick what to stream once it's all inventoried. Well, it will be, because in one way at least, because I'll be able to sit down and look at a list instead of having to physically walk around my room and scratch my head and like look in boxes and be like, oh, what do I want to grab out? I'd like to get like a big, part of me would like to get like a big wheel, like a Wheel of Fortune wheel, and lay out a whole bunch of, and lay out a game on each slice of a big wheel and just give it a spin and then just stream whatever it lands on. Could say that records are tenfold more expensive, seeing as you're looking at anywhere between $10 to $100 for one piece. That's around 15 to 20 minutes of audio. Usually 5 to 7 of those are the ones you care about the most. I don't know. I don't know much about record collecting. I mean, if you're thinking about, each item costs about $10 to $100, though. I mean, game collecting is roughly that expensive on a one-to-one item sort of basis. As a lot of games, a lot of these retro game carts will go for anywhere between $30 to $60 for your average games, and then the more desirable ones are usually closer to $100. But I mean, like a video game might have anywhere from 5 to 40 hours of content, and each record isn't going to have that much content. So if you're looking at it about time spent enjoying the items, it's definitely more expensive to invest in records from a perspective of actively engaging with the content of the media. I mean, time spent enjoying it. You could probably export it into an Excel sheet and do a version of that and title it Wheel. I probably could. I could do something like that, or I could even just open the list and just ask the chat to pick a random number for me between hey chat, pick a number 1 to 100, and then just count down that many games on the list and play what we land on. I was just thinking that I like the idea of having a physical object, though, to play with, to pick the games out for me. There's something that captures the imagination about that. But no, you're right. I definitely could do a version of it digitally once I've got all the titles in one place. When you consider that 10 records are enough to play about an hour of music mixed on turntables or whatever, it does add up. I just think you can get infinitely more time out of a single game than you ever could a record. Yeah. Oh, did I not take a picture? There we go. I like that track. That was good. That was some good background music. There's a Twitch streamer on here who's mid-40s, and his record collection is something I aspire to. He would have spent an absolute fortune over the years, and the coolest thing is he bought most of them new when they just come out as well. For me, I've played a lot of catch-up with buying records as in my teens. I consumed a lot of MP3s. That's a fun idea. You can make a virtual wheel for each console. Yeah, we could do something like that. I think it would probably be a good time. Especially if it lands on something garbage and I end up doing another stream like my Monopoly stream. Monopoly is such a barren, boring game. But I had a lot of fun with it. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying the other day about why I streamed the Castlevania adventure. Is like I kind of like keeping an eye on categories that no one streams in and being the one guy streaming that weird game. There's something exciting about that to me. Yeah, I streamed Monopoly on the Super Nintendo. It was like a month ago now. So this is the most expensive item in my collection. This is Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut. This is pretty much the only game in my collection that I have just because it's an expensive game, because it's also a terrible game. I bought this game from a bookstore for $4. And I bought it. When I bought it, I didn't even think anything of it because I thought it was this game, Clay Fighter 63 at a third, which it is. They're the same game. Just this game is expensive because it was a Blockbuster exclusive. They made a version of it that the only way to play it was to rent it from Blockbuster. So now the only way to own it is to buy a copy that used to belong to Blockbuster, which I guess this is how this one got out in the wild. But whenever it came into the bookstore, whoever priced it either didn't care, which is what I think is the case, because I later got a job at that same bookstore, and I think I know who priced it, and believe me, he didn't care. He's the kind of guy that just slap whatever price on anything. Just who cares? It's all garbage. Just get it out of here. Is sort of his attitude. But I picked it up and I didn't even know it was valuable for like a year after I owned it. I happened to see it on like most expensive retro games list or something like that, and I was like, is that the one I have? Still thinking it was this one, and lo and behold, I've got an amazingly expensive game. I mean, provided you could find someone who wants it bad enough to pay what people ask for it, because I've seen people ask like anywhere between $600 and $800, and it's not worth that. There's no way. There's no way anyone. If you paid $800, I mean, even if you paid $600 for it, even if you paid $300 for it, you're not gonna get $300 worth of fun out of this game. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep twisting it like that. See, how cool is it when you get an unexpected bargain? It's very cool. And there are a few games in my collection that I got for considerably less than what they were going for, and definitely considerably less than what they are going for now. It's hard to think of a lot of examples off the top of my head. When I worked at the bookstore, I got, on the Super Nintendo, I got loose copies of Super Metroid and Secret of Mana for $15 or $20 each. And I got a copy of A Link to the Past complete in box for $20. Which those are some pretty killer deals. I mean, they're not like $4 for $300 game deals, but those games are actually worth playing. The most recent example I had was in a pawn shop. They were selling Red Dead Redemption 2 for $5 because it's missing the first disc. This was at a time when it was still selling new for $80 or $90. That's another copy of the same game, also missing a disc. I took my chances and bought both, and would you believe it? I opened one packet and it's got disc 1 and the other packet's got disc 2. Perfect. Is that another case? You think that's a case where the game came into the store as both discs together, but then some employee who didn't know or care split them into two separate objects and then charged nothing for them? Mario Party 2. Banjo-Tooie, which I've been working on stream for like it feels like 2 months now, which we're going to be playing a little bit of later tonight. I think it was a careless slip up that somebody probably got in trouble for, because that particular store chain is known to be extremely greedy on their secondhand prices. They would have saw it as a missed exploitation opportunity. Make sure I leave this somewhere I can find it later. I don't know what the deal with this is. Yoshi's Story, it has both a proper instruction booklet, but then it's also got this weird, like, cardboard, like, duplicate instruction booklet. Like, I don't know why you would need both items. It's weird that they made both. Shame about those N64 games coming in a cardboard box like that. Yeah, I don't think I have a single N64 box. Aside from the Japanese Ocarina of Time, I think that's the only one. Try and find a few other things that have manuals. I don't even know what this one is for. The covers are completely ripped off. Maybe Turok? Yeah. Well, look at that. I have two Star Fox 64 manuals. I didn't even know. I guess when you buy this stuff online, it uses a similar grading system to vinyl. Fair, good, good plus, very good plus, near mint, mint. That's a trust system with vinyl because you rarely would get to see photos of the item itself. There's just too many of them, and sellers don't have time to make photos of every single one. See, that's a shame. That would make me really nervous to buy an item like that, especially like a sort of a collectible item, sight unseen. And believe me, it's very open to abuse. You essentially downgrade whatever they suggest the condition is. If they say VG plus, you essentially assume poor condition. They say near mint. That's as close as you get to well looked after played item. If they say mint, you expect it to be sealed and never played before. The worst I've seen was from a seller who's from my hometown, which was partially disappointing, but also not surprising. Yeah, so with video games, like, I mean, usually they'll tell you the condition of the cartridge. I mean, you assume that they're functioning. Of course, they should disclose if a cartridge isn't functioning. But if it isn't functioning, like, what's even the point? But usually they'll describe the condition of the cartridge, and with old games like cartridge-based games, I just assume that they're cartridge only. Most people who sell stuff like this anyway, they would split up the manual from the cartridge and sell them separately before they would ever sell them together. So, which is an annoying, scummy thing, but it's like, what you gonna do? GoldenEye. I've certainly played a fair amount of GoldenEye, and I played it with friends, but I've always preferred Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark doesn't get nearly the attention that GoldenEye does. That's a shame. I wouldn't put it past some people to sell you something broken still thinking of its value. That's really, really low, yeah. But I mean, that's another thing, you know, like used game stores will pretty much always do that. If someone brings in and sells to them a collection, then they'll take and piece out the items and sell them individually. Like if someone brought in games and manuals. If you bring in something complete, like box, manual, and all the contents, they might keep them together, but even then there are people who will piece out and sell a box, a manual, and a game all as 3 separate items. Which if they own it and they're selling it, they can do whatever they want with it, but that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean they're going to be excused from me thinking it's scummy. Just because they're free to do it doesn't mean that I'm going to like it. Duke Nukem 0 Hour. I feel like I liked this game a lot too. It's another one I don't really remember very well, but I know that I spent a good amount of time playing it, so I must have gotten really into it at some point. My other hobby is making electronic music, and hardware synthesizers are essentially like bars of gold, shiny knob-laden metal objects, sometimes with and sometimes without a keyboard attached. It's a highly addictive thing. In the industry, we all admit to having something called gear acquisition syndrome, that is. It's where you develop a longing or lust for a piece of audio equipment, irrespective of whether you need it, whether you are capable of using it, and whether it would actually improve or bring something new to your existing setup. So, I've mentioned a couple times, Sparrow, I play the guitar, and so I know exactly the syndrome you're talking about. I spend an embarrassing amount of time watching YouTube videos about guitars that I will never own and don't need and have no reason to care about. I didn't know that. Yep. Yeah, I play acoustic guitar, which then makes the evidence of my syndrome all the more apparent, because most of the videos I watch are about electric guitars, and I don't even play electric guitar. I own an electric guitar and a very nice one, but when I play it, I just play it like my acoustic. Do you have any recordings of your work? No, not really. I'm I've never had any like aspirations of being a great musician or anything like that. Like I don't write a lot of songs or anything like that. I'm more of just a front porch guitarist. And hello Vansky, welcome to the stream. Welcome to me welcome to me very slowly laying out my game collection and inventorying and taking photos of it. This is a monumental task, and I'm not particularly rushing through it. So my apologies to anyone out there if I'm driving you crazy because I'm going so slow. That's kind of just the way this adventure's gonna be. You know, I'm essentially born electric, but if there were any stringed instrument I'd love to own, it'd be an acoustic guitar. But I also love the sound of piano, and slightly more, the electric piano, Rhodes et al. Looks like a lot so far. What have I gone through? I did my Virtual Boy collection, and I've done about 7, 14, 16. We're almost at 20 N64 games. So here's the thing about Mario 64. I have 2 copies of Mario 64. One of them is Japanese, though, and so do I count it as a second copy of Mario 64, or do I inventory it as a separate item? Mario 64 Japanese edition. I think it should count as a separate item, personally. It's weird that I don't have a second copy of a American Super Mario 64. I think I probably did at one time. It might be another thing that I traded. I just don't remember. I was able to source a CRT monitor for $20 today, and it still works. Excited to get it hooked up to the N64. Excellent. Oh man, that sounds great. $20 is a decent deal for a working CRT. At one point, I owned, I think, 7 CRT monitors simultaneously. I worked at a public library, and I did occasionally I would do a program for the public to come in. Like I taught a writing workshop 1 month, and just different kind of things that like big city public libraries will do. But one of the events that I did was a retro gaming event, and where I brought my actual collection into the library and set it up for people to come in and see and play with and interact with and enjoy. But to do it, I had to find CRT monitors. So I went around to every Goodwill I could find and bought the smallest, cheapest CRTs I could get, and I had 7 of them that I was lugging around for this program. It was a lot of fun, but man, it was a lot of unnecessary work. I was chatting with the girl you rated last night about how much I love music in Spyro. I was reading that. I was still lurking at that time with a grumpy henna. You were talking about the Dark Hollow level, I think it was. It uses the electric piano heavily. It was probably my introduction to the electric piano as a kid. The composer also happens to be the drummer from the band The Police. Really? I didn't know that. Separate, different version altogether. The guys at the shop looked like they wanted it out of there. Oh man, it was a ton of work, and most of it was done off the clock. But you know, retro gaming's something I love, and if I could incorporate it into my day job like that, I wasn't going to miss an opportunity. I wonder if I have an instruction manual for Japanese Mario 64. I don't think I do. What I really appreciate about the composer for Spyro is before he even started writing the music for each level, he observed all the level design and artwork and matched the music accordingly. That's the way to do it, right? Hopefully if you got someone working on the game music, they're going to care enough to figure out what the game is about and what it's like before they start writing the music. I mean, I realize that, you know, probably a lot of people don't, but you would hope they would. That's the way to do it if you're passionate about things. And yeah, the track I was talking about was the music for Dark Hollow level. Like many good things, it sounds simple on the surface, but there's a lot of clever work that went into the production. This game I've never played a whole lot. This game has the best subtitle in the history of titles. Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber. what a great subtitle. I want that I want that title on my tombstone. Here lies Frownie, Person of Lordly Caliber. It's another one that I have from multiple regions. I've got Super Smash Brothers in the US and the Japanese edition. We got Gauntlet Legends. This is a game, I sadly never beat this game, but I sure played it a lot. I got really into it, but I wasn't very good at it in the long run. It got too hard for me by the end. Might be something worth revisiting. Shadowgate 64. Another kind of weird game. I think it's sort of a weird, rare game that I'm a big fan of. It's so perplexing. It's so hard to figure out what in the world you're supposed to do in this game. We've got Superman on the Nintendo 64, classic. It's actually a game. It's actually a game I'm really tempted to stream. Hello, Gaming Bull. Nice. I have a copy of Superman 64 too. Never played it though. I played this a little bit. I got to like the third or fourth challenge of the tutorial. It's as far as I ever got. It's an immensely frustrating game. And I've only played like 4% of the content. The Turok games are games I never liked as much as I wanted to. Like I played them and I tried to get into them, but for one reason or another, they just never did it for me. The first one, the Turok Dinosaur Hunter, man, all I remember about that game is fog. That game had a draw distance of like 2 inches. And I just always was so lost in that game, I could never figure out where to go. And Turok 2 had sort of the same problem. Like, man, I really wanted to like Turok 2. I remember being blown away by like the opening cutscene. Like I thought the graphics are really good. It had voice acting, which was weird for a Nintendo 64 game. Like a lot of it, and it impressed me technically so much. But man, when I play that game, I get turn around and lost and just never figure out where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do. Don't know if I held that one up or not. Not that it really helps you see it much better because the glare is really bad and whatnot. But I'm doing my best. This is making for a rather handsome catalog here on my tablet, though. Donkey Kong 64. I want to stream this game. I'm terrified to stream this game. This game is so big, and there's so much backtracking. Mickey Speedway USA. I feel like I like this game. I feel like I thought it was pretty good for a Mario Kart clone. You know, not exceptional, but in any real way, but passable. I feel like I had fun with it at least. So this might be the weirdest one though, because so far as associating video games with weird albums, I associate this game with the soundtrack to Jim Carrey's live-action Grinch movie. If I ever, on the rare occasion that I hear a song from that soundtrack, I immediately start thinking of this game, and vice versa. And that's probably the craziest, like, connection in my brain. So you can tell this was definitely a Christmas gift. I didn't think much of the soundtrack for Croc, but on Croc 2 there was a track that absolutely blew me away. It was the Hang Glider Valley level. I remember being home from school, extremely sick with some sort of flu or virus, playing this level with that music while getting pummeled by a fever made me feel so strange. Almost out of body experience like. Now when I listen to it, there's bittersweet feelings. Those of being extremely sick, but this fever-induced euphoria state also. I get that, like, there's some music that it just brings up these just really weird, these really vivid, like, memory feelings. Like, you know, I don't know what the word for it is, but it's like, it's not like you remember it in your head, but like you feel it in your chest, the memory. my copy of Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. It's another game. I only have the Japanese version of this game. I don't have an American one. I haven't ever really played it. I hope you don't have to read to beat it, because I'm gonna be stuck. It's entirely a double-edged sword. I love it, but I also start to feel sick. Oh no. It's another one. It's like Yoshi's Story. It's got a proper instruction manual, but it also... What is this? Some kind of inserts. I have no idea what these are about. But it's got those. It's got one of these things with it too, though, which is just... Why? Why have this and the manual? It's overkill. I'm gonna do a handful more games, but I am running out of I'm running out of time for the moment. I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon and get some food before I start my regularly scheduled stream a little bit later tonight. Pokemon Stadium, complete with a Charizard sticker that I stuck to it myself. And an instruction manual that looks like it went through the laundry machine or something. My copy of Diddy Kong Racing is only Japanese as well. I don't have a US version of that. On the Nintendo 64 cartridges on the back, look, it calls them Nintendo 64 cassette. That's really weird. It's like when people used to call game cartridges, they used to call them video game tapes. They would call NES games Nintendo tapes. Even though, like, it's so weird. There's no tape inside. I mean, I know that the NES was designed to look like a VCR, but and I feel like I think of a cassette as by definition containing tape, and that might not be accurate, but that's why the name on the back seems so weird to me. My copy of Pilot Wing 64, complete with very official, laminated, typed up instructions to go with the rental, I guess. I mean, someone put a lot of work into this sheet. Yes, I included this sheet in the photo because I am a crazy person, but don't worry, I did not count this as a manual in the inventory. Okay, my friends, there's no real, good place to wrap this up, but I'm well over my 8:30 cutoff time that I said I needed to make earlier, so I'm gonna wrap up the stream here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and viewing the stream. I'm sorry if the stream's a little weird, or aspects of it are kind of frustrating, but it's just that kind of weird thing, and I'm really happy that so many people have been viewing, and a couple people stopping in to chat with me. I greatly appreciate having you here. Thank you so much. if you like this kind of thing, I can't tell you when I'm going to be doing it next, but I'm probably going to be working on this for a long while. It'll be something I usually do in the afternoon my time. I'm in the central time zone. I mean, right, we've gotten through, we did my Virtual Boy collection, and we did less than half of my Nintendo 64 collection. I mean, there's still NES, SNES, Sega, Atari 2600, all the disc games that I have. Like, we've barely scratched the surface with this endeavor, so there'll be lots more of it. If you want to catch a regular stream from me, one where I'm actually playing a game, those happen every night, Sunday through Friday, typically, starting at about 11 Central and going for about 4 or 5 hours typically. Tonight, I'll be back around 11 p.m. We're going to play some more Banjo-Tooie. We're getting near the end of that game. So if you want to drop by for that, that's when you'll see me again. But thank you. I really appreciate having you here. It makes this a lot more fun. If you want to stay, you want to hang around for just a second. I'm running off to get some food, but we can go on a raid. Drop in on someone else and kind of lurk myself while I'm eating. Cheers, Frownie. Guess I'll see you later. On later. Yes, I'll be back. I'll be back later, Sparrow. And I hope I will see you. I hope you'll tune in. We won't be doing more of this. We're gonna be doing some actual gameplay later. But there'll be more of this in the afternoons. I actually have someone in mind that I want to raid. It looks like Powley is on from Powley Plays, and she's raided my streams a lot, so I want to pay her back. I want to go visit her. It's nice to be able to go in this direction for a change instead of always receiving the raids. She's playing Overlord. I don't know what that game is, but Powley's real nice. So, and she's into retro games. I don't think this is a retro game, but she's into retro games and game collecting. So if you like that kind of thing, then you can catch her doing that sort of thing on her channel from time to time too. But one last time, thank you very much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you again. For now, I'm going to see you on the other side of this raid, my friends.